Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I remain deeply concerned about a potential shift in the trajectory of the pandemic. The latest CDC data continue to suggest that recent declines in cases have leveled off at a very high number. These data are evidence that our recent declines appear to be stalling at over 70,000 cases a day. With these new statistics, I am really worried about reports that more states are rolling back the exact public health measures we have recommended to protect people from COVID-19.
Translation, Mrs. Rochelle Walensky of the CDC, you being the director. Translation. We don't want to roll anything back. We like everything where it is right now. And if we could do it harder, I know that I think was it Massachusetts and Iowa or Wyoming or Montana? I think are getting rid of the mask mandate. What are you doing? What are you hide? It's insane. We talked about it yesterday. It's all doom and gloom. We can have 50 different vaccines. Doom and gloom. Doesn't matter. Hey, this one's 100% effective, and all you have to do is look at it. You just have to stare at it. Just look at it, and then you're covered for the rest of your life. But stay inside. Doom and gloom. How about this from the WHO director? Mike Ryan from the WHO talking about the fact that this thing is, well, it's premature to think that it's going to be gone ever.
It will be very premature and I think unrealistic to think that we're going to finish with this virus by the end of the year. But I think what we can, if we're smart, finish with is the hospitalizations and the deaths and the tragedy associated with this pandemic. So the WHO's singular focus at the moment is to keep transmission as low as possible, to suppress that transmission, which will help prevent the emergence of variants, but will also reduce the number of people who are sick, and more importantly, to get as many people as possible vaccinated so we can take the fear and the tragedy out of the pandemic.
You're not going to take the fear when all it is doom and gloom. Here's the reality of it. It's endemic, not pandemic. Unless something weird happens and it disappears, which it could disappear. It looks like it's going to be here in perpetuity. It means it's going to be here for good, at least for the next several years. So how do we do it? Live with it, through it, and around it, and above it. That's it. Boris Johnson of the UK, really bad haircut, entertaining guy, laid out a plan of getting back, but is completely honest with everybody.
We cannot escape the fact that lifting lockdown will result in more cases, more hospitalizations, and sadly, more deaths. This would happen whenever lockdown is lifted, whether now or in 6 or 9 months, because there will always be some vulnerable people who are not protected by the vaccines. Yes. There you go. There will always be people that are vulnerable. Vulnerable for several different things. Flu. Oh, yeah. Is one of them. Remember, we still lose about 50 to 80,000 people a year with a vaccine and something that has been in and around us for years. Not something novel. Something that's been in and around us for years. We still lose people. The vulnerable will still get sick and die. And we always think of the vulnerable as look, a lot of times it's elderly people. You get to a certain point. My grandfather died last year, right? It happened. It was his time. He was older. He had lived his life. I don't want to be matter of fact about it. Maybe I'm a little Richard about it, but, my uncle and I talked. It was time for him to go. He'd been around. He'd been struggling. He was vulnerable to anything and everything. He didn't have COVID. He didn't get COVID. But, he had talked about it even last year when he was starting to struggle. It's not the way he wanted to go. In some nursing home, somewhere where somebody is having to care for him. Nobody gets out alive, and it sucks. At least Boris Johnson's honest. And he says, look, we're going to do this. I don't think we really have a choice because we can't hide forever. There is, therefore, no credible route to a zero-COVID Britain or indeed a zero
post-COVID world cannot persist indefinitely with restrictions that debilitate our economy, our physical and mental well-being, and the life chances of our children. And that is why it is so crucial that this roadmap should be cautious, but also irreversible.
Translation. Guys, we're going to be honest here. It's going to be bumpy. We're going to have some moments. We're going to have some moments where you're going to look and it's going to feel uncomfortable because maybe we're going to see some spikes in some places. But but we're not going out there without anything. We've got the weapons at our disposal. And the disposal, the weapons at the disposal are going to allow us to offer some immunity. But it's never going to be zero. It's never going to be perfect, I think, what some people want. And so when we start this thing, there is no going back. All right? We're jumping out of the airplane. We've tripled, quadrupled, fanupled, checked. Making up words. We have Googled it. We have a Google of looks into our parachute. We've got everything at our disposal. But there is no going back once we step out of the airplane. There's I'd like a redo. It doesn't happen. We're doing this, and we're going to do it in stages. But by summer, we're back to living our lives. Because for all of the crap that people like Boris Johnson and, I'm going to say it, Donald Trump got, for all of that crap about we can't let the cure be worse than the disease. We're at that point, especially with the younger generation. We have an older generation who, for all intents and purposes, we've never really talked to, right? When I hear people talk about, well, I'm trying really hard for grandma and grandpa to get the vaccine, I'm like, well, I'm doing everything I can. Well, why can't they? For some, it's confusing and stuff, but you talk to grandma and grandpa, and they're like, you know what, we'll get it when we have the opportunity. But if you talk to grandma and grandpa, the sacrifices they've already made, then we'll look at lost generation. My little brother's going to have to redo school this year. It's a joke. It's been an absolute joke. My other little brother, probably also going to have to do it. Then my other brother, who's in private school, has not missed a day, and they've had 0 cases. And only one quarantine situation isn't. Sometimes you're going to have to take that step. I think too often we have gotten ourselves in a position where we are so concerned about numbers and looks and the politics of it when it should be about living, trying to figure out what's the best way to attack this thing, but also continue our lives. And we've left it out there on numerous occasions. We're like, no, let's not do that now. Let's not do that now. We have to start moving. It's that simple. I wish Biden had some sort of a plan other than let's get everybody vaccinated, but maybe next year, right? The end of this year, maybe, but I can't make that for certain. Luckily, states have control. So your state may get out, or if you're in Florida, you're kind of like, hey, what's COVID? That's what Florida's like. We're too busy. We're drunk, and we got margaritas, and it's spring break, and woo! And other states are, but some states are going to be super locked down. And if you noticed, everybody kind of ends up at the same place. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. All that being said, still trying to figure out what we're going to do with the relief bill that's going to cost us $2 trillion. Are we any closer? And just think, for that $2 trillion, you're probably going to get about $1,400. That's they're caring.
President Biden today, for the second day in a row, holds talks with Senate Democrats, part of his push to get his COVID-19 relief bill passed before an unofficial deadline of March 14th. The president will join Democrats during their weekly virtual lunch meeting. This afternoon, he delivers remarks on the COVID-19 pandemic. On Monday, President Biden spoke to a group of 9 Democratic senators about the relief bill. The White House says it was a good discussion and there was agreement about quickly passing the legislation.
Hey, 9 people who all agree about the same thing on how to spend our money money without the fact that they haven't even spent the rest of the money that's already out there. For those of you who don't know, there's still money not spent from the last one.
We've been bridging to the other side for a year to the tune of about $6 trillion in assistance. $1 trillion of it hasn't even been spent. Now we want to do another $2 trillion, call it $2 trillion. How many $2 trillion packages we get each year? How long does this last? Or, let me ask you, what happens when the music stops? What happens when there's no more stimulus packages?
Larry Kudlow, boring, but right. What happens if there isn't any more stimulus packages? What happens when we get to the point where finally, right, Janet Yellen says, look, guys, you guys keep doing this, the inflation's going to be through the roof, and this is going to take us years. What happens when you have to rip the Band-Aid off, if you will? What happens then? Well, you have to make the choice of living and allowing people to return to some normalcy with the opportunities to have vaccines. This is not one of those things where we're just throwing people out there and saying, all right, you've got nothing. You've got stuff. Everybody's going to have the opportunity to get a vaccine and do all those things. But I think once you have that vaccine, you should be allowed to return to a normal way of life. I think most of us agree that way. Well, you could spread it. You might. Look, if you're looking for zero, it ain't happening. It ain't going to happen. So if your goal is to hide into your house until there's zero, well, eventually they're probably going to come take your house. Because the government's going to run out of other people's money, or the more money they print, the less our money's worth. We have to make real decisions. We do. We have a decent amount of arrows in our quiver. Let's start moving forward. The doom and gloom, look, we get it now. We're adults. We get it. It ain't going anywhere. So now let's get our kids back in school. Let's get ourselves back to work. Let's get moving on. We could be cautious and use common sense without being terrified. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Tweet at us, text to program. Raycon, best earbuds around. I love my Raycons. I talk about it all the time. I use them all the time. Yesterday, played golf. What was I doing? Where are my Raycons? Then I had to do some video editing. What was I doing? Where are my Raycons? Seamless Bluetooth pairing from my phone. Boom, straight to my computer. That simple. What I love about them is the noise isolating fit. And when you get them, and you should, I'm telling you, put it in where you can kind of, hear outside, and then really put them in, and you're going to be like, wow, this is crazy. Seamless Bluetooth pairing, 6 hours of talk time, and just the best fit around, which changes everything. The sound quality is second to none, and the price, well under $100. Normally you'd spend $200 to $300 for anything close to this. Get yours now and save an extra 15%. And yes, it comes with a 45-day money-back guarantee. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad, buyraycon.com/Chad, buyraycon.com/Chad. He was being talked about a year ago as potentially somebody who could step in and save the Democrats. Now, is he going to survive the week as the governor of New York? Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
So Anthony just sent me a Twitter thing from Wu-Tang Kids, which just makes me laugh. Wu-Tang is for the children. It is in Florida, and let's just say they're unfamiliar with coronavirus. There is a line out the door of several hundred young adults who go to FSU, it looks like, who are getting into, what's it called, Phil, the Potbelly?
Yeah, Potbelly. I'm not standing in a line for Potbelly.
No. They are, and they don't seem bothered. There is not a mask to be seen anywhere. Nothing. Not a mask. People are freaking out about this. This can't happen. What do people expect? Just out of curiosity, what do you expect? Do you expect we're going to live our lives in inside for the rest of our lives? Do you expect that we're going to like, where is your point? And this is my thing. I think every one of us take calculated risk. Well, this calculation's too much. That's fine. I mean, if you expect people to get to zero, that's just not going to happen. This is that is never going to happen. We're never going to get to zero. We're never going to get to a point where we do not have any cases unless this thing magically disappears. We can mitigate them. We can make it to the point where it probably becomes somewhat seasonal. But I'm telling you, the first year or two, let me tell you how this works when we got the vaccine. People will be very, very open to going to get the vaccine, The third year, they make it a little bit lax. By the fourth year, people are like, yeah, it was offered at the flu shot thing. I had the flu shot. It's because that's who we are. But it's not just us. We always act like we're the worst. We're the worst. Everybody else in the world is so much better than us. Shut up. It's just, I can't live like this. And by the way, I am very good. I don't go anywhere. By nature, I'm a little bit of a loner. I've talked to you about that, but I don't go anywhere. I respect the people around me. So that's one of the reasons I don't do stuff, because I don't want to put them in a position. I still managed, by the way, to catch this damn thing. So think about this. I go nowhere. I see nobody. I spend predominantly 70% of the day where I'm awake by myself. I get here between 3 and 4 every single day, sometimes a little earlier, and I won't see a person until 9 or 10 a.m. because of my shows, and I'm on a different side. And I still managed to get the thing. Shopped very sparingly, haven't been to a movie, haven't gone to a restaurant, outside of playing golf, also, which I do by myself. Still managed to catch this damn thing. So if you're expecting a miracle of zero, and then you'll return to life, it's going to be a tough life, brother. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Let's talk a little Cuomo. He's awful. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The New York Times reports Anna Rook claims the governor asked to kiss her at a wedding in 2019 moments after they met. Rook, who worked on the Biden campaign, says Cuomo placed his hand on her bare lower back, telling the Times, quote, I promptly removed his hand with my hand. According to the report, the governor allegedly placed his hands on her cheeks, adding he asked if he could kiss her loudly enough for a friend standing nearby to hear. The 33-year-old telling the Times, quote, I turned my head away and didn't have words in that moment.
So, does he make it through the week at the rate this is going? I mean, he's in, let's be real, he's got some serious issues. He does. Now, to me, I think you do an investigation, right? It's that simple. You do an investigation. What's the investigation? Let's find out if these, are they credible? Are there witnesses to this? I'm not I think I don't want to throw people, like, well, you were accused of something. I talked about it this weekend. Tom Holland, the Spider-Man, right? He was getting canceled. And people had to tell everybody because he supposedly tweeted something. It was another guy named Tom Holland who also happens to be kind of famous. He's a big cricketer in England or Australia. And he tweeted something, but they got too confused and people didn't care. I didn't care. Well, I don't care about that. I hate Tom Hollands. They're the worst. You investigate. You take a peek. And if it warrants a deeper investigation, then you investigate.
We have to believe.
By the way, this is Mayor de Blasio. I think we can all agree, with or without an investigation, at least we've had a public one, he's just awful.
We have to believe women who come forward and fully investigate. And,
No, we have to take their accusations seriously. Because if you say, I believe you, then your investigation is going to be coming from a biased point of view that I already think that person's guilty of something. You have to investigate. Believe the woman when she says, I had said thing happen to me. You believe that. But then you go on from there to investigate. That's the way it should be. I'm sorry, Mayor, you're awful.
Investigate. And, the governor issued a total non-apology earlier and in effect treated sexual harassment as some kind of laughing matter. It's not a laughing matter. It's not a joke. It's very, very serious stuff. And we need a full investigation.
He's licking his chops. He's like, man, I've already ruined New York City. Give me a chance to ruin the state. Here it comes.
When I read the account of what Charlotte Bennett went through, I cringed. I had a feeling of like the pain, the terror she must have been going through. Here's someone who could determine whether she has a job or not, whether she has a career or not, literally suggesting in front of her all sorts of perverse sexual possibilities, and she's alone in a room with him. I mean, think about how grotesque that is. If it proves that these allegations are true, how can someone lead a state if they've done these kind of things?
And if it proves to be true, that is a very fair thing. Does it prove to be true? You have to ask the questions and find out. Is there holes in the story? Is this person telling a lie? Is this person not telling a lie? Are there holes inside of the story they're telling where they're piecing things together that may not be true? Are there other things outside of here where people would say, no, this guy did it to a bunch of different people? Or no, she had talked about the fact that, she wanted to move up and she had said, I'll get there one way or another. And you start to piece things together. You don't know it, but you ask. It's an investigation. It's an investigation. You got 3 women. Now you have a third accuser.
I think that this investigation will be very testimony dependent. This is not going to be a sort of forensic investigation relying on physical evidence, but certainly every single woman will be interviewed, the governor will be interviewed, and corroborating witnesses will be extremely important in a case like this.
Yeah. Meaning you're going to have, it's he said, she said. So he said, she says. And as we all know, we live in a day and age where it's not what you say, it's how it's taken in many cases. I mean, it's that simple. So I don't know. All I do know is, though, the way that he has acted has been ridiculous and has been absolutely over the top when it comes to anybody, not just this. Take away this. Look what he's done with the investigation when it comes to the long-term care facility and the nursing homes. And how he's basically told people on the phone, look, we know people.
That is not an apology. We all know, anyone who's taking a sexual harassment class, there's a big difference between intention and outcome. The outcome is that women were hurt, they felt abused and threatened by the governor, and that's all that matters. And he should be issuing a genuine apology and thinking about resigning as soon as possible.
And I think that is going to be something that is going to come up more and more in the next couple of days. I think another 1 or 2, you've got some serious, thought process that you would think would go through his mind, except much like Donald Trump and some of these other people, I don't know if he will. It'd have to be something really concrete. If it's he said, she said, I think he'll go down fighting. If there's emails and pictures and things, if he goes Anthony Weiner, a.k.a. Carlos Danger, then I think that would change the tune. But I don't know if he's there yet. And then you got his brother. He's just a buffoon.
Let me say something that I'm sure is very obvious to you who watch my show. Obviously, I'm aware of what's going on with my brother. And obviously, I cannot cover it because he is my brother. Of course, CNN has to cover it. They have covered it extensively, and they will continue to do so.
even though we did everything to ignore it and focus on Ted Cruz for days and weeks and months and everything else that we could about how awful everybody else was, we're going to ignore this for as long as we possibly can until there was no way that we couldn't ignore it. Do the investigation. Believe what they're saying is they felt something happened, and that might be true. You investigate to the hilt. You come in as unbiased as possible. Isn't that the way it's supposed to be? Right? I mean, that's, to me, I thought that was it. But it'll be interesting to see. It's like about a year ago. Democrats were struggling. I don't think we'd even got to South Carolina. And the struggle was real. And they were like nobody here so far. Biden had struggled. The other ones that are out there, they don't have a chance against Trump based on stuff that we had seen at that point. Now, through the summer, a lot of stuff changed with, what happened to George Floyd and things of that nature. Then there was a real movement. And we were still in a situation, too, where coronavirus wasn't what we know it now. And people were like, man, whoever wins this thing, it might be this dude. It's a possibility. He could throw his hat in the ring. People are looking for Bloomberg, anybody. Anybody. Changed. It has. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. So, we got an issue at the border. I don't care what anybody said. This is Homeland Security Director Alejandro Mayorkas. Now, nothing to see here, of course.
Do you believe that right now there's a crisis at the border?
I think that the answer is no. I think there is a challenge at the border that we are managing, and we have our resources dedicated to managing it. The answer is no.
The answer is no, says him. Nothing going on there. It's baffling. It really is. I've said that night that Biden came out and said, I'm going to give a pathway to people that have been here, a pathway to citizenship to some 11 million, which we know is closer to 20 plus million. So let's stop pretending that it's that. And it's not everybody south of the border. I'm here to tell you, a lot of people, especially over the last several years, the visa entry point has been just as good as the border entry point. So, if not better, because people come here legally, whether they're coming here to study, whether they're coming here, like a trip, just going to be here for a few, weeks or months, or whether they're coming here to work and their visa runs out and they decide to stay, that has been very, very good as well. So it's not just everybody south of the border, but at least with people that come through a visa, well, we've got some sort of names. A lot of other ways we don't. And there is a problem at the border. And much like everything else, we're not really interested in fixing it at all. And Mayorkas, this guy, he's not bothered, right? He's not bothered.
To the individuals seeking protection, we are working around the clock 7 days a week to make that time frame as short as possible, but they need to wait. But they need to wait with a particular goal in mind. We are not saying don't come. We are saying don't come now, because we will be able to deliver safe and orderly process to them as quickly as possible.
Excuse me? Don't come now. Why are you coming? Now, are there political prisoners? Yes. But because your country is a hot mess and corrupt, especially at the top, why don't come now says come. Just not this second. But just come. But it doesn't matter. Even if you come, we'll figure it out. You wonder why people are frustrated. You're not interested in the fix unless it totally benefits your side. It shouldn't be a side thing. These are human beings who are escaping horrible situations. How do we help their nation not be awful without throwing more money away? We have pissed more money away through Central America and south of the border than, you talk about the money we waste. Oh, it's always, there's talk about money we waste that goes in the pockets of a bunch of people at the higher end of things and gets wasted. We're in this situation where now we've allowed people to come here over and over again, and our lax system is continuing to allow that to happen, almost inviting it to happen. Frustrating for everybody. And on the human side, it's doubly frustrating. It's awful. This entire situation is awful, and nobody seems to really want to fix this unless it only benefits them. And human beings' lives, they're at stake here. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Taylor Swift's been wrong again. Oh, God, when do you hear this? It's going to be a number one single. I already know that. Every time she's wronged, she gets a hit. Every time. That's all she's like, I've been wronged. Oh, I should go right at number one. Who upset her now? So stupid. Car Shield is not. 24/7 roadside assistance. A rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose said shop. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. It's as simple as that, and it really is. Here's the thing with Car Shield. Let's say your car's got 60,000 miles on it. You don't have a warranty. Still in good nick. It's got some electronics, but you're still worried about the what if scenarios. What Car Shield comes in. Plans start as low as $99 a month. Whether your car is newer or older, you got plans for your electronics. They got plans for your entire car, everything in between, and they have plans for things like your engine, your transmission, even your air conditioning and the windows, because we know you don't want to roll them down, right? Oh, you don't do that anymore? No. That's why Car Shield's amazing. Over 1 million drivers have been helped by Car Shield. It's America's #1 auto protection company. So you can drive with confidence. Yes, so you're confident. I'm confident. Why? Because I'm protected for cover repairs. They're covering me. They're covering my car. They're covering my bank account. Call them 800-665-2157. Use code Benson to save 10%. Or go to carshield.com. Carshield.com. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
We all know that Taylor Swift is a tortured young soul. I'm just kidding. I think she'd like to think she's tortured. Don't you? I think she'd like to feel like she is this tortured young, like, oh. But she's not. And she takes the situations where she's been hurt and she makes hit songs. Well, she's been wronged again. Chad, you're being mean to Taylor. I'm not being mean to Taylor Swift. I'm not being mean. I'm joking. I met her when she was like 15. She was still a country western singer. I was working for a station out in Sacramento, California, country station, big country station there. And she came in. And she hadn't even. She was just getting. I don't know if she'd even released Tim McGraw. For those of you who don't know, she was like a country artist beginning, and her first claim to fame, big hit thing was the Tim McGraw song, called Tim McGraw, and so she was young, and we didn't wrong her, so she didn't. She wasn't mad at us. She was just. I was the night guy. Didn't do anything wrong. Everybody's like, this girl's going to be the next superstar, and she just. She kind of said, I'm going to do, I want to be bigger. I want to do pop. I want to cross over. She totally crossed over. But with that came super fame. With super fame came issues with guys and then all the songs and the jokes about it. Well, there's another joke that has apparently pissed people off, especially Taylor and people in her camp.
Bad blood between Taylor Swift and the soapy Netflix drama Ginny and Georgia. Swift not happy with a line from the season finale where Ginny is arguing with her mom, Georgia, and says,
"What do you care? You go through men faster than Taylor Swift."
Swift took to Twitter to write, "Hey, Ginny and Georgia, 2010 called and it wants its lazy, deeply sexist joke back. How about we stop degrading hardworking women?" Swift also hit out at Netflix, her partner on the documentary Miss Americana, writing that, "Netflix, after Miss Americana, this outfit doesn't look cute on you. Happy Women's History Month, I guess." Netflix is yet to respond.
No, they shouldn't. Get over it. It's a joke. They're talking about you, right? Right? They're talking about you. So shouldn't you be kind of happy? Just a smidge? They're talking about you. That's it. They're talking about you. Let's go over it again.
Mom, hold on.
You can't just storm into my room. I was changing.
Holy boy, through the window, Batman, I think we got our guy.
What?
You had sex with Marcus?
How do you know?
Ellen told me. That was fun.
What do you care? You go through men faster than Taylor Swift.
Not funny. I don't even know what the show was. Poor Anthony had to sit through that to get that. You know who should be mad? Anthony, our producer. That's the person that should be mad. That's the one. At least they're... I don't even know what to say. Everybody's offended. Everybody's offended about something. Everybody's offended. Everybody's outraged. I don't even... I used to do Twitter, and I used to do some videos now and then, and I still do some. But the outrage mafia I'm so over it. I was hitting golf balls this weekend, and the lady and the husband next to me, they're like, we started chatting, and they're like, yeah, it's beautiful day. I said, it's a great day because I'm not fighting with anybody on Twitter or anything. She goes, you know what? I gave up Twitter altogether. She goes, and the last 6 months, I have been happier than I've ever been. And I'm like, I could see that. I could absolutely see that. Just everybody's outraged. They want someplace to scream and yell. Arr! My goodness me. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We cannot escape the fact that lifting lockdown will result in more cases, more hospitalizations, and sadly, more deaths. This would happen whenever lockdown is lifted, whether now or in 6 or 9 months, because there will always be some vulnerable people who are not protected by the vaccines.
That is Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson has essentially had enough, and he's being honest with us, which is what our politicians are afraid to do. Trump ignored. His honesty at times was a bit much for people. For other people, especially now, the empathy and the doom and gloom is a bit much. We touched on it yesterday. Everything is doom and gloom. There is no good, and the good only lasts for a little while. And I'm here to tell you, epidemiologists, scientists will tell you, through vaccines alone, we are not going to get to where you think we're going to be all perfect. Herd immunity is going to come through infections as well as vaccines. That's the reality of this. But no. Yeah. And the doom and gloom, people are tired of it. You know what's worse than the continuous doom and gloom and having everybody terrified? Continuous doom and gloom and having people no longer pay attention because they don't buy a lot of what you're selling and they no longer want to hear it. Even if they think, okay, yeah, it's serious, but I just can't hear it anymore. That's falling on deaf ears because every time you finish something with this is how bad this is going to get and this is it and we can never do anything ever again. Oh, my God. Guess what? People just are at the point where they're like, well, so my choice is do nothing, try to stay alive as far as just puttering along and hope that my business doesn't fall through and continually turn to healthcare professionals who are now politicians and some people that claim to be leaders and ask them, pretty please, can we go see a sporting event? Pretty please, can we do certain things? Pretty please. And people are going to push back on me. Let me tell you something, guys. I've been to a movie in 14 months. I haven't eaten at a restaurant in 14 months. I started talking about this in 2019. Watch what's going on in China. Friends in China saying, dude, stuff's going on over here. It's really weird. There's a city way bigger than New York that they've completely shut down. Everybody's like, Fauci and all them came out. I've done none of the things. I do nothing. I have lizards. I see my family. I have a new little niece. I haven't seen her yet. I've not seen her. I've stayed away from everybody as best that I possibly can, and I spend hours by myself outside of my family. I stop going to church. I do it online because I have people that I work with closely here in the middays and afternoons who are vulnerable. I've done everything that you were supposed to do. I wear my mask because I respect other people. I don't know what's going on to the person next to me. Maybe they're shopping for their grandma. But I have done everything from having most things delivered and has been as absolutely, how should we say this, social distance as you could get. Normally I'm a social distancing kind of person, but I miss giving high fives. I miss giving knuckles. I still do that with a couple of people. I miss living life, going to my movies on Thursday night. I miss going to restaurants with the family. I miss seeing my family. I miss all of those kind of things. I miss my weekends with my son. It's great that I have him for a week at a time, but you know what? I miss the time where he and I are just out and we're having fun and we're just throwing, I would say throw our hair back, but I don't have any hair, and just living our life and having a great time and going to SeaWorld, doing all those things. I've done everything correct. I still caught the GD thing. I still did. At some point, we talk about all the time, nature is nature, and it will mess you up, meaning it's here. Sometimes the spread is so real, there's not a lot you're going to be able to do about it. But if continually you tell me I can't do this and we can't do that and you can't do this and you can get a shot, but you can't go anywhere, and what's the point, as Bill Maher said? But we've been saying that for months and months. Watching my friends lose their businesses, helping my friends out, doing everything I can so they don't lose their business, they don't lose their house. Doing all that we possibly can. Knowing full well that no matter what we do or what somebody does, that you're beholden to what? And to me, the thing that still pisses me off the most is the picking and choosing of things. Look at Gavin Newsom and California. I'll never forget that. You had that lady whose restaurant is closed. She's losing everything. And right next to her, they've allowed them to set up a craft service table so they could what? They could feed the people that were there to film something. Frustration. Is there good news? Of course there is. They don't focus on it. We should. I'll say something for Florida. Balls to the wall. Will it work out for them? I think so. Because I think at some point in time, life is about risk, and you take the risk. And Boris Johnson has essentially said, guys, we're going for it, and there is no net.
There is therefore no credible route to a zero-COVID Britain, or indeed a zero-COVID world. Cannot persist indefinitely with restrictions that debilitate our economy, our physical and mental well-being, and the life chances of our children. And that is why it is so crucial that this roadmap should be cautious, but also irreversible.
Translation. There's no net. We're going for this. When we step, when we take off, there is no going back. We're doing this. We're opening up. If you want zero, it ain't happening. We're going to give everybody the tools they need, the arsenal they need to fight this thing. But we're going forward. We're going to resume life. We're going to step out. We're going to do things. We're going to live life. We're going to hug each other. We're going to see each other. We're going to go visit family. We're going to go to sporting events and movies. We're going to eat out. We're going to live life. And we're going to take responsibility and have an understanding that we've done everything we possibly can. But the boogeyman ain't going to win anymore. Because not only is it beating some people health-wise, it's beating us as a nation and as a world mentally. And there is a point where the cure is becoming worse than the disease, and I think we're at that tipping point now. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. We were talking about this. Will he survive or won't he survive?
The New York Times reports Anna Rook claims the governor asked to kiss her at a wedding in 2019 moments after they met. Rook, who worked on the Biden campaign, says Cuomo placed his hand on her bare lower back, telling the Times, quote, I promptly removed his hand with my hand. According to the report, the governor allegedly placed his hands on her cheeks, adding he asked if he could kiss her loudly enough for a friend standing nearby to hear. The 33-year-old telling the Times, quote, I turned my head away and didn't have words in that moment.
Yeah. Now you've got other things. That accused, there's also a photograph.
There was that photograph that certainly has to be uncomfortable for the governor. His hands are on Anna Rook's cheeks, and it seems to reinforce the notion that he was at least touching her inappropriately, and she said it made her feel uncomfortable.
Now, it might have made her feel uncomfortable, right? I don't know. Like, was he giving her, like, he's Italian. Let's be real. You've been around Italian people, they're huggy-kissy. They are. I got some Italian buddies, they're huggy-kissy. My neighbors in England, Mirella, she was Italian, man. She was huggy-kissy all the time. She grabbed your cheek, she would be kiss. Does it mean that, he was doing anything? This is something that they're going to have to figure out. That's what the investigation is about. It's not just this, though. Think about this for a second. All of this going on with Cuomo, all of this happening with Cuomo, with the potential sexual harassment and the investigations, let's not forget one thing else. Nursing homes.
He's under federal investigation. He has hired a prominent criminal attorney in New York City to represent him in that investigation. And so that has yet to be resolved and taken together as sort of a 1-2 punch. Sexual harassment allegations, nursing home death information allegations. This is the most perilous moment of Cuomo's career.
Yeah. And I think he's got more than a few issues with both of these things. It's not just, to me, this, from what I hear, is going to be a lot of he said, she said. Right? Sonny Hostin talked about it. It's a lot of, well, he said something, she said something. He said something, she took it a certain way. Yeah, that, to me, that's tough, right? Because you've got it's the whole, I don't know, I wasn't in the room. I wasn't in the room for some of these. But the investigation, the criminal investigation, I think people are overlooking. Because it wasn't just, what can't you do? You can't cover stuff up. And that's the thing I think is going to bite him in the ass. He tried to cover up what's going on with the nursing home, all the while writing a book, a best-selling book, and winning an Emmy. Now, we didn't know, nobody knew what was going on behind closed doors until some people leaked it. But there was some questions and a few people out there. I think was it Dana Perino or one of the Fox ladies was really loud about her mother-in-law and father-in-law, about what took place. And that kind of continued to snowball, and it got bigger and bigger. And the noise got louder, and finally somebody leaked something. But that's a criminal investigation. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Always tell everybody, it is not the act, it's the lie that gets you when it comes to the feds. Trust the process. What's the process? This is the process, right? The process is we're going to ask you a question. If you lie to us, if you did it, all right, right? Martha Stewart, you didn't go to jail because of what you did. You went to jail because you lied. Bill Clinton wasn't impeached because of what he did. He went to jail. He was impeached because he lied. They don't like to be lied to. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. All right, let's check it out, kids. Home title lock. Don't let your house be stolen. Deborah, she found out all too late that home title fraud is very real, and it cost her home. They were being evicted from their own home. Why? Because people are able to do things. Cyber criminals are super smart. All they need to do is go online, just check the county recorder's office, and they do it in the tens of thousands. And then what they do is they see titles that they know are easy to pick off. Sometimes it's a second home that they know is empty, or a rental property they know is empty, And sometimes it's your home and you just moved in and they make it seem like a quick flip. And the next thing you know, they're taking out what? Tons and tons of loans against your home and or moving in. And then you've got a court battle that will cost you tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Home Title Lock's there to protect you. Anything happens right now to your title, you're not alerted. With Home Title Lock, you will be alerted immediately. Hey, something's going on. And the minute that happens, you're able to check it and stop it before anything crazy happens. And should somebody get by Home Title Lock, you can get $250,000 to help fight that in court. Check today, see if you've been a victim. Go to HomeTitleLock.com, code radio, 30 days free. That's HomeTitleLock.com for 30 free days of protection. HomeTitleLock.com. Use code radio. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a peek, find out what's trending. What's pissing people off today? Lots, I'm sure. J.J. Watt signed a contract. 2 years, Arizona Cardinals, $23 million guaranteed. In fact, Dan Bickley, our big sports writer, so I do my national show and I do a local show. The local show is we carry on the sports station. It's our sister station. We carry the Cardinals, and he is next door actually doing a Dan Patrick thing right now, talking about JJ. Huge win for the Cards. I just think it's good. Once again, it's football being football, still dominating in a time that you would think, really, it's not football. It's getting close. Got the draft. Football likes to be football, dominate everything. Dr. Seuss, we're going to talk about that. Pulled for racist images. I don't even know at this point. Like at this point, I'm like, really? There's what they do now? Cat in the Hat? Is that the one? Did they do something? Oh, no, they're still going to do some Cat in the Hat. They're going to allow some of that. Chris Cuomo came out, talked about his brother, says basically, you guys know he's my brother, and I can't actually cover all the things that are going on. So, but CNN has to. Elizabeth Warren is proposing the ultra-millionaire wealth tax because, of course, she is. And if you've not seen the deep fake Tom Cruise videos, they're scary good. They're scary good. And it should scare you. It should scare you. Some of these things are like, wow. That is, it is. There's one where it's some scary stuff. Because it's, you swear to God, it's Tom Cruise. Right? And it's been watched by tons. It's magic. It's scary. That's how good these things are. And they're coming. And with the way that things are now, with the QAnon, and the way that things are now with complete disinformation and stuff, rather than even misinformation, just straight disinformation, with all of those things, this is the stuff that's going to be super scary in the coming years, especially as we head to the next election. And I go back to that movie Equilibrium, where they had Father. And Father had died for years, but they just had they had deep fakes, and people would just continue to be that person. It's here. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It would be very premature and I think unrealistic to think that we're going to finish with this virus by the end of the year. But I think what we can, if we're smart, finish with is the hospitalizations and the deaths and the tragedy associated with this pandemic. So the WHO's singular focus at the moment is to keep transmission as low as possible, to suppress that transmission, which will help prevent the emergence of variants, but will also reduce the number of people who are sick, and more importantly, to get as many people as possible vaccinated so we can take the fear and the tragedy out of the pandemic.
That's the WHO director and Mike Ryan there talking about how everything is going to go. The fear, you live off the fear. You live off the fear. Everything is doom and gloom. Everything is bad. Doesn't matter what it is. We can get new this. We can get new that. We can have 100 different vaccines. It's never going to be good enough. Was it yesterday? We've been talking about it for months. So you can't live in fear. This thing has been allowed to rule people's life in such a way now that they're looking to others on whether or not they can do things. To the point where it's like, was it Brooke Baldwin last week or whoever asked Fauci, hey, my parents got both of the shots. And can the kids go see him? No, I wouldn't do that. Not now. And it's like, well, then why? Why get it? What's the point? Because the kids aren't getting a shot, okay? Not now. Well, I would worry. I wouldn't at this point, maybe not the optimal time frame, the efficacy of, he just wanders around. And it's no. And then you've got CDC Director Rochelle Walensky.
I remain deeply concerned about a potential shift in the trajectory of the pandemic. The latest CDC data continue to suggest that recent declines in cases have leveled off at a very high number. These data are evidence that our recent declines appear to be stalling at over 70,000 cases a day. With these new statistics, I am really worried about reports that more states are rolling back the exact public health measures we have recommended to protect people from COVID-19.
Translation, let's not roll anything back. Let's not stop anything. Let's not move forward. Chad, it's about moving forward. I tweeted some out if you guys want to go see it. It's the Potbelly. What kind of restaurant is that, Producer Phil? Because it sounds like you'd been there. No, that's the mushroom place. The pizza place? What is it?
It's a sandwich shop.
Oh, okay. So, and there's just tons of kids. It's Florida. I mean, Florida's just living their dream. Like, they don't, like, they're, meanwhile in Florida, like, coronavirus? What are you guys talking about? They're worried about HPV, not coronavirus. Should I not said that? I felt like I should, and then I was like, maybe I shouldn't, but I did. So there you go. You're welcome. They're not. They're kids. They're partying. They're having fun. Living the time of their life. Not going, should we stay inside all day long? No, we should double efforts. Now's the time to triple effort. Now, if you've got both shots, go into your trunk of your car and close the door. And wait. Wait for what? For whatever. No. We've got to live our life. We have to live our life. And like I said earlier, and people push back me, I don't care, because I really don't. I mean, I got the damn thing, and I didn't even do anything. I was as careful as you can get. Still didn't matter. But the doom and gloom has to stop. If you're not going to have something to say that at least adds to the conversation if we're looking at the light at the end of the tunnel, and people feel like no matter what they do, they're going to be stuck on this, then the point for a lot of people is, well, what's the use? What's the use of me doing stuff?
But we cannot be resigned to 70,000 cases a day, 2,000 daily deaths. At this level of cases with variants spreading, we stand to completely lose the hard-earned ground we have gained. These variants are a very real threat to our people and our progress. Now is not the time to relax the critical safeguards that we know can stop the spread of COVID-19 in our communities, not when we are so close.
It's always doom and gloom. Always. I take you back.
Can we be a little happy? Can we be a little happy about where we are now, COVID-wise, as opposed to where, I mean, it's like, They really don't want you. I think it's counterproductive. I really do. The constant gloom, and it's always a new strain from Satan is coming. And we're coming up on 1 year of shit. And I'm sorry, Johnson & Johnson, there's coming on the market. You can get it right with your pimple cream, I guess. And by summer, they're going to be giving this away. I'm telling you, there's probably going to be more than enough.
There's got to be something. You go through the process, and it feels like nothing is going to change. You stay inside. We're not quite sure if you can or can't give it to somebody. Frustration level? Absolutely. Here is Dr. Amesh Adalia talking about, hey, when can we do stuff?
When am I going to be able to take my 2-year-old son who can't wear a mask to his first baseball game? When am I going to feel safe enough to do that in a crowd?
So the mass gatherings are going to be a little bit difficult. It's likely to be when we get more of our vulnerable populations vaccinated so that we don't so much care about transmission at a low level that's occurring because all our vulnerable populations have been vaccinated. So there's no chance that a hospital put in a situation where their capacity might be threatened. And that's the tricky part with mass gatherings, because if you've got a super spreader event at a major league baseball game, you have to worry about that.
You worry about everything. I get that you're worried about that. Why aren't the vulnerable already vaccinated? Why aren't they already vaccinated? I'm just curious. Why isn't every single person involved? We've got more than enough, but then we start breaking down, well, who's vulnerable? Oh, are we going to change the guidelines for some of those things? We have to move forward. You can be safe. You can be responsible. Not everybody is, but you can be responsible for yourself. And if you feel like something here feels uncomfortable, well, that's okay. Then don't do it. But if the thought is, well, you're never really going to be able to do the things you used to, and this could be a while, maybe another year or two, and then we'll, reassess? You got to have some positive, because without that, you're going to lose them altogether. Everybody's going to stop paying attention. Everybody, and that's the worst. That's worse than even paying attention, and being frustrated is not paying attention. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Then you got hashtag, like cancel gyms and gym. Why? Why are we canceling gyms? What are we getting rid of? Well, gyms they're super spreaders.
Every day, Jacob Geis gets one heck of a workout.
We get here at 5 a.m. and we start to move out and set up for the workouts for today.
Much of Southern California is shut down due to COVID. Geis has moved his indoor gym outside. As a result, the staff at Body Fit Training in Santa Monica has to haul 6,000 pounds of weight outside every day.
All right, guys, working hard. We've got a wide variety of equipment, but we really enjoy this. It keeps us more active.
Yeah, because we should be looking at ourselves and getting fit. That's what we should be doing. Study out of Italy. People who are obese. And we're not talking about you see people and it's like, you're like, I could lose 20, 30 pounds. I get that. I work out every single day. There's not a day that doesn't go by where I don't have at least 12 to 15,000 steps, where I'm not lifting weights, I'm not doing something, and eating, trying to eat pretty healthy. I work out. I don't smoke. I don't drink. And there's people out there that I know, we're talking about people who are really obese. Well, guess what? With a super sedentary lifestyle, really obese, they're saying now it's not as effective, these vaccinations, with really obese people. That's not good.
The result, outdoor classes that focus on high-intensity training in a physically safe environment.
We keep everyone 8 feet apart. We have masks required during the workouts, sanitizing everything all the time to really keep people safe. And we think of ourselves as the solution, proactive healthcare. We'll go 6, Hannah. And so part of that is going to be good fitness.
So 6.
Which is good. Good fitness. That's great. We should all be looking to do that. And I understand if you have a chance to go outside, do it. Like 100%. I saw my kid, Jack's riding a bike the other day. And he's got like his mask on. What the hell are you doing, dude? You're outside. It's just San Diego, California, for God's sakes. That's the insanity of it. It's like, yeah, you're right. Gyms are closing down. They're getting fined. Some people are upset and angry. Shouldn't have anything open. You know what? If you get vaccinated, go work out. If your gym's moved outside, go work out. Don't see a problem with it.
But not everyone is as lucky as Southern California when it comes to weather. Some gyms in New York are braving the elements, rain, cold, even snow, to keep classes going.
We think of ourselves as the solution.
This year is far from normal. Many gyms have closed their doors, some for good. Others have filed for bankruptcy. Investors are estimating that the pandemic could cost the fitness industry upwards of $10 billion in lost sales.
Yeah. That's nuts. It's nuts. Those are people's livelihoods. Those are people's livelihoods. And that's the frustration. Little things, from restaurants to many other things. We have the tools at our, right at our disposal, along with the vaccines and everything else, to put ourselves back in a path that gets us back to a normal way of life. But my fear is the people that have the power and that are directing this, unwinding that from them and taking it back, because they're not going to hand it back, is going to be tough, especially at the local level and state level where there's the most influence. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Do love hearing from every single one of you. AMAC, Association Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. It's doing great things right now, doing absolutely phenomenal things. Going in D.C. and fighting for better immigration plans than the one we have now, which is essentially ignoring. Common sense reform. Fighting for your First and Second Amendment right. Making sure that you understand what's going on out there. Fighting for voting rights, which is, I think, a vitally important thing in this country. On top of that, they got benefits. Tons of them, from retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, and so many more, to special pricing on just about everything and then some, right? Maybe you're looking for a phone. They've got that. They've got great deals on dental care, medical insurance plans for people who are under the age that they want to start receiving Medicare, assistance, emergency assistance, auto and home insurance. You name it, they've got it. Now's your chance to join. $16 a year. That's simple. $16 a year. Simple and easy. Go to amac.us/Chad. amac.us/Chad. Join now. amac.us/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Darn, that climate change. Batten down the hatches. It's Topical Storm Chad, headed your way.
Nomadland! Pandemic award shows continue to be a tough sell to audiences. In the early preliminary numbers, the Golden Globes ratings down around 60% from last year, a huge drop. Now, those numbers aren't final and are missing a lot of data, so by the time we get the real numbers tomorrow morning, they're expected to go up, but they won't go to normal levels, probably not even close. And if they hold where they are now, then in some key demographics, more people Sunday night watch 60 Minutes in American Idol than the Globes.
It's because nobody cares. Hey, here's a bunch of people that are doing really well while everybody else is struggling. Oh, by the way, they're also going to preach at you. Who wants to be involved? Everybody raise your hand. Here comes Mark Ruffalo. He's going to tell you how much you suck. Who's in for that? Anyone? Anyone? Yeah, no. No. Nobody was. It's not a shocker. Plus, I go back to this. Take away all that. Award shows used to be about seeing people that you really didn't see outside of the movie settings, TV settings, or a few articles. Now, they're everywhere, 24/7. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. They're everywhere. You see them now in other settings. So it's not the same. It's just not. So much of the award shows back then weren't about the awards. It was about seeing all of the people. And now it's not about that. Now it's about how can they tell you how you suck in some cases. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. So Biden and us, the Americans, have announced a partnership with Merck and a few companies.
President Biden today is expected to announce a major partnership between two American pharmaceutical companies. Merck will help make the Johnson & Johnson single-shot COVID-19 vaccine, a rare partnership between two pharmaceutical giants who are competitors. The White House confirms this announcement, which was first reported by the Washington Post. Johnson & Johnson has said it expects to be able to deliver 20 million shots by the end of March and 100 million by the end of June. It's not clear how this partnership with Merck will change that timeline.
No, I think it may speed it up. That's the one thing that, people talk about Moderna. Moderna, unlike Pfizer and BioNTech, they just don't have the manufacturing capabilities that the other ones do. So much of this isn't about it's the manufacturing, and it's also about the downline things that you need to build these vaccines. But even if you have them, if you don't have the right partnership, the distribution side of it could still be extremely, extremely slow. And you don't want that. Want as fast as possible. That's what we want. Get it out there as fast as possible. Get it out there as fast as possible so people can get back to doing what they do or did pre-pandemic. Live life. Chad, you just don't understand about the living life thing. It's not very nice that you say that. How dare you? Like I said, I posted something. I'm getting tweets and text about stuff. About, people in Florida out there having fun. Some of the insanity. This is why we can't have nice things. I'm like, what? Another person, one step forward, 10 step backs. Between this and the largely maskless, non-social distancing CPAC, Florida can expect another spike. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Trump is sitting there cowardly at Mar-a-Lago after secretly getting his COVID vaccine. I was curious about why they got it this soon, because they do suggest that you wait sometimes 120 plus days, maybe a little bit longer. Some people say 90 days to get the vaccine after you've had it. So, and there's still know how long it lasts. I mean, we don't know. We don't know how long. Is it better? Are you going to have more staying power with the antibodies because you caught it than you would if you get the vaccine? How long did these vaccines last? Still something else that isn't talked about. Because I don't think they truly know. Is it 6 months? Is it 3 months? Is it 9 months? Is it a year? I don't know. I don't know, Chad. Me either. Wish somebody did. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you, even if it is the hate, because there's a lot of that out there. Just wonder why people are so angry. Why are you angry? Why? Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
People, we need a plan. We need a plan. Without a plan, plan to fail. And the plan for COVID, getting off of this ride, getting out of this. What is the plan? How do we do it? Do we take a page out of what the UK is doing? Boris Johnson, he is rolling out a plan. He's being very reasonable, but he's also being very honest. So I want you guys to understand that. If you're looking for perfection, it ain't going to happen. It isn't. Human beings, nature, sorry kids, isn't going to happen. So at some point in time, you've got to make the plan. Somebody's got to do it.
We cannot escape the fact that lifting lockdown will result in more cases, more hospitalizations, and sadly, more deaths. This would happen whenever lockdown is lifted, whether now or in 6 or 9 months, because there will always be some vulnerable people who are not protected by the vaccines.
Plan. He's got a plan. Starts in April. Gyms, outdoor hospitality, hairdressers, shops open May 17th. 2 households might be allowed to mix in their homes. Right? Then you start getting out there and you start seeing the step-by-step thing. And the way that they're going to ease and then eventually step out. Step 4. So you get to the non-essential retail and hospitalities, indoor leisure, gyms, swimming pools, those kind of things. Step 3, May 17th, outdoors. Most social contact rules lifted. 6 people or 2 households can meet indoors. Indoor hospitality and hotels open. And then June 21st, all legal limits on social contact removed. Hope to reopen final closed sectors of the economy. But he said we're doing this. He said we are doing this. Because based on the data, where he thinks the UK is going, plus the fact that you have available things to slow the mitigation and stop it with vaccines in a lot of cases, that there shouldn't be any reason that you don't move forward. But he's honest.
There is therefore no credible route to a zero-COVID Britain or indeed a zero-COVID world. Cannot persist indefinitely with restrictions that debilitate our economy, our physical and mental well-being, and the life chances of our children. And that is why it is so crucial that this roadmap should be cautious, but also irreversible.
Yes. It's happening. They're going to take a step. And that step is a step that they're going to move forward on, knowing full well that once they start down this path, they're going to have to see this thing through. There's no going back. Maybe it's June 5th or June 1st because they get out earlier. Maybe it's July, but they're doing it. They're doing it. And there's a plan. And what do I keep telling you? The open-ended non-date for a plan isn't working for people. The always, life sucks, and we're never going to be able to do anything or go anywhere.
But we cannot be resigned to 70,000 cases a day, 2,000 daily deaths. At this level of cases with variants spreading, we stand to completely lose the hard-earned ground we have gained. These variants are a very real threat to our people and our progress. Now is not the time to relax the critical safeguards that we know can stop the spread of COVID-19 in our communities, not when we are so close.
Close to what? I've heard nothing. That's Rochelle Walensky, CDC director. I've heard nothing. Close to what? Tell me what we're close to. We've got vaccines. We're not saying you're going to open everything tomorrow. Some states are wide open. Some states, they're going to be closed a lot longer. We're talking yesterday, where are you doing over 55 vaccinations? 55 and older. Producer Anthony's in California. They're doing 110 and older. It's a slow process. It's over-controlled. It's about not getting shots in the arm. It's about a bunch of other things. It's just not going as well as it should be. But tell me, where's your plan? You tell people, look, guys, let's do this for a little while longer. We're getting out of here on this date, period, case closed. Everybody will have had a chance to get it, and that's where we're going. We don't need you to come back and say, well, I really can't say, Joe Biden, next year, should be okay, maybe by Christmas. I'm not quite, I don't know. We're not asking for perfection. Some people would like to see it down at 0. Teachers in some states have said, yeah, we let's get us the shots. We'll go back to the classroom. And now like, hey, maybe the kids need to get shots too. No. Life needs to return to some normalcy, as much as life is going to be. Life's not always normal, but we need to get back to a place that's real, where people see that they can look out there and say, okay, this is what we're looking forward to. This is what we're working for. I don't see that. I see open-ended games that don't seem to be working, and people are frustrated. And everybody goes, oh, Florida's not wearing masks. Look how bad they are. But then California overdid it, and they're horrible. I haven't done anything. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. I don't see anybody. I have stayed as social distance as you possibly can because I respect the people around me and the fact that some people around here have underlying conditions, and I would hate if they got sick and I was a part of it. And I still managed to get it. So what's the plan? I'm not hearing a lot. What I'm hearing a lot of is keep on this path. Keep on this path. Well, yeah, we should. Keep on this path. Okay, keep on this path. Okay, that's great, but what's the plan? You don't have a plan, do you? Your plan is this for as long as you can, and then hopefully in some way, shape, or form, you'll feel like maybe at some point we can get back out there, but you're not quite sure. And then the other question that isn't being asked, at what point do you allow people to say, look, not only are we taking the risk, but if there's a flare-up over here, we're not shutting everything down because of that. We're going to learn how to live with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing. That is real. And you could either live above it or terrified and live below it. I choose to live above it, but that's up to everybody else. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Then, of course, you've got this thing called the stimulus, the package. We've got a ton of money that's out there. People, what do I tell you? T-Rex doesn't want to get fed. T-Rex wants to hunt. People want to work. It's not just about a paycheck. It's about getting out and living life, participating not just in the economy, but in life. And we're still in a position where everybody's kind of still waiting to figure out what's going on. How close are we to getting any kind of stimulus and a relief bill?
President Biden today, for the second day in a row, holds talks with Senate Democrats, part of his push to get his COVID-19 relief bill passed before an unofficial deadline of March 14th. The president will join Democrats during their weekly virtual lunch meeting. This afternoon, he delivers remarks on the COVID-19 pandemic. On Monday, President Biden spoke to a group of 9 Democratic senators about the relief bill. The White House says it was a good discussion and there was agreement about quickly passing the legislation.
Yeah, it all sounds great. We're in agreement. We need to do this. There's a ton of money here. Let's throw it around and give it out to as many people and special interest and all kinds of pork that we can push this thing here that we could have pushed down the line. Let's focus on the people's where it should be. And we've already spent all of that. Oh, we haven't spent. How much is left from the last one?
We've been bridging to the other side for a year to the tune of about $6 trillion in assistance. $1 trillion of it hasn't even been spent. Now we want to do another $2 trillion, call it $2 trillion. How many $2 trillion packages we get each year? How long does this last? And, or, let me ask you, what happens when the music stops? What happens when there's no more stimulus packages?
Well, at that point, you're going to have no choice but to allow people to get back out there. But if the economy's so destroyed, what are you allowing them to get back out there to? Goes along with the damn plan. What's the plan? At what point do you say you've had enough opportunity to get the damn shot? At what point do you say you've had all of the opportunities in front of you and you chose not to do it, so we're going to allow you to live your life based on that choice, which I'm completely fine with. I got zero problems if you don't get the damn shot. I got no problems with it. But I do not want to be beholden to some that don't. So we have to live in a situation where we're turning around going, please, government, hand us some more money. Do you? Is that what you're feeling? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. Yeah, we're going to touch on it because there is more.
I think that this investigation will be very testimony dependent. This is not going to be a sort of forensic investigation relying on physical evidence, but certainly every single woman will be interviewed, the governor will be interviewed, and corroborating witnesses will be extremely important in a case like this.
Sonny Hostin, Cuomo is in trouble. Got 3 now, and let's not forget the other thing that's going on there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Rough greens. Give it to my dog Doodle. Went home last night. Doodle's bounced around the house, as Doodle does, and I love it. You guys know my dog Doodle, much older, bad hips. Started giving him rough greens about a year ago. He is bouncy. He's happy. He jumps on the bed. He could never do that before. His hips are better. His immune system's better. And Canine Vitasmart is it. It's a supplement you put on top of your dog's food. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. It's got all of this stuff. It has helped with his inflammation. It's helped with his fatty tumors. It's helped with his joints and his overall health. And I give it to our puppies as well. They love it. Sprinkle it on the food. It's all you do. Now, the beauty of Rough Greens is they're one of those companies that are like, we won't be able to try it first. People don't believe it. You try it. So you go to ruffgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad. They're going to send you a bag for free. You pay for shipping, right? It is that simple. ruffgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MyDog77, 833-MyDog77. Tell them Chad sent you. They're going to send you a bag absolutely free. You pay for shipping. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
Hello, Hall 8!
No big crowds gathering this summer to hear the latest from the stars of their favorite geeky movies, TV shows, and other projects. San Diego Comic-Con, the massive pop culture festival held every summer, will go virtual again. Organizers announcing that, like last year, this year's event will be an online experience. Because of the pandemic and because of limited financial resources, it'll be cut from 4 days to 3. But Comic-Con International says it'll try for a small in-person 3-day event in November. Not a whole lot of details on that yet.
Yeah, this is where if you've never been to Comic-Con, it's great. You go there, people dress up. You got all the, the cosplay people. But this is where you come and see, like, they debut all of the stuff. Like, this is what's coming for CBS and Fox and, NBC and ABC this year. This is what's coming from Marvel and Disney. And you get all of the stuff, and the stars are there, and they're answering questions and all of that stuff. And it's crazy. It's crazy. It's fun. Everybody should go once. It's a trip. It's great. Sucks that it's not happening this year and people aren't rolling stuff out the way they used to. One of the things you could add is talking about the new Mission Impossible. Speaking of the Mission Impossible, I know you guys haven't seen it yet, and I'm going to tweet it out. It is a deep fake. If you don't know what deep fakes are, deep fakes, they are you have somebody else's face or whoever. You can superimpose anybody's face on there. And it's gotten to the point now with the syncing up of the voices and the way that things are going, that it is impossible to tell something's real or not. And there are several deepfakes out there right now of Tom Cruise.
I'm going to show you some magic. It's the real thing. I mean, it's all the real thing.
You would swear it's Tom Cruise. You would absolutely swear it's Tom Cruise. It looks it to a T. It's not Tom Cruise. It's a fake. And why that matters in something like, who cares? Imagine 6 months from now, 7 months from now, a year from now, somebody's running for Congress, the Senate, 3-4 years from now, somebody running for president. We already have a world of people with information that is disinformation, misinformation on purpose, or downright fake. And if you're having trouble discerning between some of this stuff that's Tom Cruise on a TikTok, what's it going to be in a few years when on your phone there'll be an app that you can do it so easy and spread that? Think about it. Soak that up for a second. It is nuts. It's got him doing this and few other things, golf, but it is very, very creepy. And from where it started a few years ago to where it really has come to now is crazy. It is. And if you can get a voice down, you have somebody who can do that, and there's stuff that's coming that's going to help with that, it is. And I'm sure most of these things start out as like, oh, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, but people will use it and more than abuse it. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. All right, check it out. I'm excited. Dr. Seuss is in trouble. I don't even know where you go from here anymore. At this point, I don't know where you go. Like, who else are we going to cancel? Who else is going to just go, cancel me? I can't do it. It's like wait for the hammer to drop. So Dr. Seuss is in trouble. It's time to cancel him because of, the stuff. I don't know. Well, I'll tell you. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The New York Times reports Anna Rook claims the governor asked to kiss her at a wedding in 2019 moments after they met. Rook, who worked on the Biden campaign, says Cuomo placed his hand on her bare lower back, telling the Times, quote, I promptly removed his hand with my hand. According to the report, the governor allegedly placed his hands on her cheeks, adding he asked if he could kiss her loudly enough for a friend standing nearby to hear. The 33-year-old telling the Times, quote, I turned my head away and didn't have words in that moment.
Yeah. So what started out as a bad last few really weeks and months for Cuomo because of the rumblings of what's taking place with the investigations in the nursing homes has now shifted to something else, which is charges that there are serious issues with him and women, some of which work for them, others that didn't, just happen to meet him. So there was one, then came a second. The second accuser came out and essentially said stuff about, hey, sex and things of this nature. Cuomo has kind of been like, I was trying to mentor him and that didn't go well.
Cuomo has denied he made any advances, initially saying he was just trying to be a mentor, then releasing a statement saying, I now understand that my interactions may have been insensitive or too personal. I acknowledge some of the things I have said have been misinterpreted as an unwanted flirtation. To the extent anyone felt that way, I am truly sorry about that.
Now, I don't know what took place. And Sonny Hostin, we talked about it earlier about how this is going to go. There's a photograph out there of him grabbing somebody's face like he's a kiss, but he's Italian. They all do that. I got friends who are Italian. They do that to me. Oh, so that's it's not an excuse. That's kind of they're touchy feely kind of people. I get it, right? Like totally, that's awesome. Like my mom is not touchy feely. She is cold as it gets. Like, I love her, but she's pretty cold. She was. On the other side of things, my dad's family, very touchy-feely. Lots of hugs, lots of kisses. Some people are like that. Could you interpret it like that? Well, what I'm doing is I'm painting a picture. Do you have other things? Do you have corroborating witnesses? Do you have all of these other things you're going to have to to bring into this, because at this moment it's he said, she said. And in a day and age where it's about how things are interpreted, I'm not saying he did something wrong. I'm not saying he didn't, because there's got to be an actual investigation. And in this day and age, we rush to judgment. We start with punishment, and then right on the heels of that is judgment. Then right on the heels of that is fact-finding, and then an investigation. And then by then it doesn't matter because everybody's lost interest and we're on to something else.
I would definitely explain to the governor that he has to stay as far away from this investigation as possible. He cannot be seen as placing his thumb on the scales of this investigation at all.
And he's had an issue with the way that things have gone down with the investigation of the nursing homes and some of the threats and things that have happened there. So people are going, is he going to do this?
He's under federal investigation. He has hired a prominent criminal attorney in New York City to represent him in that investigation. And so that has yet to be resolved and taken together as sort of a 1-2 punch. Sexual harassment allegations, nursing home death information allegations. This is the most perilous moment of Cuomo's career.
Yeah, it is. People are telling him it's time to resign. You should step away. Assemblyman Ron Kim.
That is not an apology. We all know, anyone who's taking a sexual harassment class, there's a big difference between intention and outcome. The outcome is that women were hurt. They felt abused and threatened by the governor, and that's all that matters. And he should be issuing a genuine apology and thinking about resigning as soon as possible.
I think you go and you investigate. There seems to be enough here that you go and you investigate. You believe that what they're saying is credible enough to investigate. And then if it's he said, she said, could they both be right? Could he think he was mentoring somebody? Yeah, it's possible. Could he have misinterpreted some things and tried some stuff and she misinterpreted stuff? All of those things are possible. Could it be that he's just a sleazebag? Oh, totally possible. Could it be that the ones that are investigating, two of them, see an opportunity here? Again, all things are possible. That's why you have an investigation.
We have to believe women who come forward and fully investigate. And, the governor issued a total non-apology earlier and in effect treated sexual harassment as some kind of laughing matter. It's not a laughing matter. It's not a joke. It's very, very serious stuff. And we need a full investigation.
It's not a laughing matter. It's not a joke. But what we've done in the past with the Al Frankens, a lot of other people, we've decided that we lump everybody into the Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby world, and that's we need to investigate, and you need to be real about it. Talk to people, investigate, find out, are there corroborating witnesses? Was this a misunderstanding, or is this guy a sleazebag? That's fair, right? That's kind of the way things should be. They're not always that way. That's the way that things should be. And I think he's got a lot of problems. And producer Anthony and I were talking about early this morning, like 5:30 in the morning. Does he get through the week? Does he get through the month? Another one or two, and the pressure's getting so heavy because you've already got Democrats going, dude, I think it's time for you to step away. I think it's time for you to step away. But I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to fight. I think he's not going anywhere. Not right now. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. In the world of wokeness, it's always good to see that your childhood is completely being taken away by people who feel, well, quite frankly, everything is bad. Everything is evil. Case in point, Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss is now, bad. Dr. Seuss is being semi-canceled. Now, today is his birthday. If I'm correct, I think it is. It's March 2nd. And it's also Read Across America Day. So right now, there are several books that aren't going to be published because of their racism. And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street, if I ran from the zoo, McElligot's Pool, On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Egg Super, and The Cat Quizzer are all going to be no longer published. Okay. Study in 2019 found that 50 books by Dr. Seuss, so they looked through 50. 43 out of the 45 characters of color have characteristics aligning with the definition of Orientalism or stereotypical offensive portrayal of Asians. The two African characters, the study says, both have anti-black characteristics.
Let's talk about Dr. Seuss, because Virginia's largest school district, they're having a problem with Dr. Seuss books. They say it's too controversial.
I'm a Virginian, and I'm so ashamed of my state. The social justice warriors see racism everywhere. There's no author who's white who's truly safe. So they see white supremacy, discrimination against Asians, and just about every kind of bias in Dr. Seuss. And you have to dig really hard and have a creative imagination to find racism in Dr. Seuss.
But they do, because they want to. And what have we talked about here? It's not what is said or meant. It's none of those. It's how it's perceived. That's Dr. Carol Swain talking about this. And Dr. Seuss, for those of you guys know, Dr. Seuss was it's all he was. It was anti-Semitic, and he was a racist person. And you know what he was before this? He did political cartoons. He was an activist. He leaned to the left.
His books entertain those young and old.
With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not-so-good street.
Dr. Seuss didn't always write in rhyme, and he wasn't always Dr. Seuss.
My name is Ted Geisel.
Before he penned his famous children's books, Theodore Geisel made his money as a work-for-hire cartoonist and illustrator for a variety of publications. And during the Great Depression, he used his talents to create advertisements for big corporations.
And he dived in his hole and went back to his work.
Yeah. Liberal Democrat. And he did a bunch of characters. And he also took race and other things. Now, you look back, he did support the internment of the Japanese during World War II. Why? Well, because we didn't know, right? We didn't know. You look back, and there were things that yeah, you know what? It was, there were, of course. I mean, come on. It's just, this is what we're doing now. Let's cancel everything. Let's find Mark Twain gone. Why? Well, because you gone. Over here, you gone. You gone. You gone. It's always something. Look close enough, you'll find what you want. And if it's not there, make it up.
These books introduced us to the Who's.
My town is called Whoville, for I am a Who.
One of their most famous inhabitants is the curmudgeonly Grinch.
How dare you!
And then there's the pushy Sam I Am, who just wants you to try some green eggs and ham.
Would you like them in a house? Would you like them with a mouse?
And of course, there's the famous Cat in the Hat. I cannot believe I forgot about that. And when his characters are grumpy or cross, they're always redeemed, and we see why they were lost. Whether you're counting up fish or hopping on pop, once you're reading Dr. Seuss, it's quite hard to stop.
But if you read it too much, you'll find out, you see, that Dr. Seuss is a racist and anti-Semitic. He uses the wrong pronouns back in the day. I wonder what he would do if he found out some people were gay. Chad. It's just so ridiculous. So we're canceling Dr. Seuss. That's what we're doing. We're canceling him. Why? Because there's an agenda out there. People push an agenda. And this is what it is. Look hard enough, you'll find the thing that you're looking for, even if you don't make it up.
I read it to my children. My grandchildren have read it. Dr. Seuss, really? There's no stopping point for these people. They are totally insane. They're obsessed with race, and they are the true racists. Dr. Seuss was a person that promoted racial unity if they would take the time to study him. But they don't. They go after anyone and everyone. No one's safe. And if you look at some of the materials that they push, it is so racist. Their agenda is racist.
By the way, just to let you know, that's Dr. Carol Swain, retired professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt. She's black. Just, for those of you, who want to say that she's enjoying her white privilege. Enough. this stuff is silly. This is more of what it is. And the problem is what are we doing to our kids with this ridiculousness across the board? The good, the bad, the ugly, it all has to be out there. But when you're looking for ugly all the time, you wake up looking to be offended. You wake up looking for microaggressions. You wake up, and why it matters is because young kids are being indoctrinated today, and they're coming out into the real world. And guess what? They're bringing their crap with them. And then we, common sense minded adults, have to deal with a bunch of crap that we shouldn't have to. Held a door open for somebody, did you? Yeah. Well, you're going to get scolded for that. Really? Yeah, we had that happen here. That's the insanity.
And whether it's trying to have proportional representation in elite schools or removing Shakespeare from colleges and schools, what they're doing is dumbing down education. It hurts every student. We need to push back. Every parent, regardless of race, must push back.
Must push back. There are things that you're like, you know what? I understand why people are pissed. And then there are other things who are like, I'm just looking for something to be angry at. What I'm looking for is a target. And I don't care where my aim is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing from you. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
I just want to make it clear to everybody, there is no subject that's off limits.
I'm just really relieved and happy to be sitting here talking to you with my wife by my side, because I can't begin to imagine what it must have been like for her going through this process by herself all those years ago. My biggest concern was history repeating itself.
You've said some pretty shocking things here. Wait, hold up, wait a minute.
Oh, the royals, Harry and Meghan. What will they do? This will be interesting. You know, I think people look at him and think, oh, this guy's giving up all this stuff and he doesn't want to be a royal anymore, doesn't want to do any of things. Look, minus a few of the royals, most of the other people are the royals. They're just regular people. They're not treated in such a way. And the other side of it, it's just, you think it's kind of fun, but it's probably not all you think it's cracked up to be. I saw King Ralph. It doesn't look like fun.
The sense is that they really do want to hear what Meghan and Harry have to say. They are very popular in Britain. I know in the States, the sense is perhaps in Britain people don't like them so much, but they really do. The difficulty will be if the Duke of Edinburgh's condition continues to deteriorate, perhaps, and then Meghan and Harry are seen to be criticising the royal family. I think the court of public opinion will not like that.
Yeah. And so Grandpa, should he pass away soon, which he will at some point, and he's 99. He's not in great health, but he's 99. I think a lot of people in Britain see them as he's very much his mom. It's kind of that free spirit, not really into. I mean, you forget, man, when Diana married Charles, she was she was young. He was way older. He'd grown up in it. That's like a lot of stuff to ask somebody. Imagine today, it's like, okay, here, give up everything you know. Now, everything that you're going to know is going to be completely planned out and completely controlled. And it's going to be other people kind of doing that. He didn't want any of that. That I totally get. I get. It'll be interesting to see because, yeah, they're a bit annoying at times because a bit of their social justice and craziness, but he's very much like his mom and his brother's very much like his dad. Sees his place, understands that he's going to be king one day of England. And there's a good chance that his son, George, is going to be. By the way, Harry is nowhere near being in the king line of stuff. A lot of stuff would have to happen. Not good stuff. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Got you through today. Go check out the craziness in Florida on the Twitter page. Some of those deep fakes as well, Tom Cruise. And of course, our funny Dr. Seuss new book that we've produced. Not really, but you go check it out on the Twitter page. Have a blessed, wonderful day. Go eat yourself a taco. Do it again tomorrow night. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.